What's up, Hawk fans? I hope everything is going well with you guys. I wanted to briefly talk about Nick Brooks and the upcoming official visit weekend. It looks like Iowa is no longer going to receive a visit from the 6'8", 300-pound former Iowa commit any longer. By the way, guys, like I said, I'm trying something new with this. I think I've recorded one car ride video in the past, but in general, I think it's more professional to record in front of the mic. But this is something that is done in YouTube. For time constraints, sometimes it is just easier for me to record a video while driving. But I told you guys in my official visit weekend preview that I thought it was a long shot for Iowa to land Nick Brooks for a variety of reasons. Namely, I just think if he was sold on Iowa, he would have stayed committed. And I've been doing this long enough to know when there's a recruit that is, number one, sold on Iowa, and number two, is very serious about the process. And when they commit to Iowa, it is evidence of their seriousness. Now, I'm not saying that Nick Brooks is not serious. Obviously, he's visiting some high-level programs. But there are guys that really do enjoy going through the process, and I don't fault him for it and everything that comes with it. And Nick Brooks does kind of just, he does kind of seem that way to me. But ultimately, like I said, if he was sold on Iowa, he would have kept his commitment, considering the success that Iowa has had, especially putting guys into the NFL. Kirk Ferentz is one of the best. Now, the problem that Iowa is running into, especially on the offensive side of the ball, is even though Brian Ferentz is gone, they're struggling to shed the identity of the Iowa offense and the lack of statistical output over the last 3 years under Brian Ferentz. And, I mean, it's the stench is strong, okay? So they're going to struggle with that up until the point of Tim Lester, the football season starting, and Tim Lester being able to show his prowess as a offensive coordinator. It's not to say that they won't be able to land guys in the meantime. It's just going to be harder. It's going to be a bigger uphill battle. But the other thing, and I said this in my official visit weekend preview, I'll link it in this video, is when really high level guys commit to Iowa, it's either that, like I said, they're very serious and they believe in the serious culture that Iowa has, the tough, hard-nosed, hard work culture and mindset, or when it comes to in-state guys, they have a tremendous desire to stay in-state and stay loyal to their home state and play for the University of Iowa. For example, 4-star tight end Thomas Meyer is an Iowa Hawkeye fan. 4-star 2026 commit Carter Nielsen grew up an Iowa Hawkeye fan. Now you do get guys like Xavier Wampa who, has that, but maybe not as much as other guys, but also has tremendous respect for a guy like Phil Parker, one of the best in the business. I'm trying to, Aaron Graves was a massive Iowa Hawkeye fan. I mean, there's countless guys that grow up in the state of Iowa who are really, really big Iowa Hawkeye fans, and they end up committing to Iowa even if they are highly recruited highly sought after guys. So, and I don't think Nick Brooks like dislikes the University of Iowa or anything like that, but I also don't think his fandom for the school is enough to overlook a Georgia, a Texas, or a USC. So ultimately, at the end of the day, guys, his pull to those major programs was stronger. Also, some guys do like to be the guy at a solid school rather than just being a guy at a really, really elite school. Nick Brooks would have been one of the highlights of the Iowa class, whereas for Georgia, it's going to be a nice get, and depending on whether he moves up the rankings or not, but assuming he stays roughly where he's at now, it'll be basically, he'll be one of the average guys in the class. So, but that's that is definitely his prerogative. It's tough. The good news is that Iowa, but like I said, just to wrap it up, I told you guys I did not think Iowa was going to land him. Doing this as long as I have, you kind of sense, you develop an instinct about it, and my instinct told me that Iowa was going to have a very big uphill battle to land Nick Brooks. Now the good news is they already have one offensive line commit in Joey Van Wessinga, who is a high 3-star interior offensive lineman by On3. The two offensive linemen that will be visiting Iowa this week, outside of Nick Brooks, who obviously is no longer visiting Iowa, so I guess not outside of, just the two guys that will be visiting are Blue Valley, Kansas, Brock Heath, who Iowa has a lot of ties to in that particular area, especially within the state of Kansas. Mason Richmond is from there. Gavin Hoffman, 4-star, top 20 tight end in last year's class, grew up in that area. And the second guy is legacy recruit Lucas Allgaier. I think Iowa is in a good spot for both of them. I think of the two, the more likely to commit to them would probably be the legacy recruit. But the fact that they still are going to receive official visits from them and still have their hat in the game is good. The other thing that's going for Iowa is they only have one offensive line commit. So there are still spots. There's still definitely spots available. So if they could land one of those guys, they would be in good shape for that position group. If they land both, they'll be in really good position. The other piece of news is Mason Richmond's brother, linebacker Maguire Richmond, is no longer going to be taking an official visit to Iowa. I've told you guys in the past, that is one of the drawbacks to Iowa having a later official visit weekend is sometimes guys do not have the patience or they get pressured, or they legitimately get sold on a program and Iowa doesn't even get a chance. So that is just one of the drawbacks to doing a later one. But the good news is you get the last shot, or one of the last shots to land the recruits. The other thing is that Iowa already has 2 linebacker commits, and considering Iowa no longer does a consistent 3 linebacker set, they do on certain downs, but for the most part it's cash and the 2 linebacker spots. I would say they play 3 linebacker formation maybe like 10 to 20% of the time. Having 2 linebackers is more than enough. I think Iowa was willing to take a third because he is the brother of Mason Richmond, and for what it's worth, he is a decent recruit, comes from a good family. Iowa definitely goes after guys like that. They go after guys that they know that they've had success with their family. They come from a good background, things like that. But I think it was always going to be an uphill battle against Kansas State. And again, Iowa already has 2 linebacker commits. So this is the update heading into the official visit weekend tomorrow. I think Iowa will definitely land at least 5 of those guys that will be officially visiting that are currently uncommitted. And if they can do that, that'll be pretty good. Iowa, the goal for them coming out of this weekend should be to have between 11 and 13 commits. That should be the goal. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Is the car ride a non-negotiable? Are you guys not okay with that? Let me know. And I'll definitely check out the comments. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.